There could be an additional seat added in the next general election. Good evening, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis. Thanks so much for tuning in. Topping the news tonight, the Boundaries Commission to meet in a final session this week to review recommendations put forth by the government. In an exclusive interview with ZNS News, the chairman of the Boundaries Commission says that body could be presenting its report to be tabled in Parliament as early as Wednesday, following dialogue this week.
We expect during that meeting that we will have some internal discussions and debate relative to the proposals put forward by the government.
It's the final meeting before the announcement on changes to the boundaries for the 2017 general election. Chairman of the Boundaries Commission and House Speaker, the Honorable Dr. Kendall Major, says he has been advised that the opposition member of the commission, Peter Turnquest, also has in his possession the recommendation put forth by the government. Dr. Major revealed that the government has proposed one additional seat with no other changes.
Because that seat is in New Providence, and that seat should represent what used to be St. Cecilia. I'm not certain what that final name would be, but that seat and the adjustments with accommodating that seat, there would be some shifting of the boundary lines relative to New Providence. But as far as I am aware, that is the only real change to the constituencies as they presently exist.
Before the 2012 general election, Dr. Major says that very same seat was removed, forcing an expansion in the Centerville, Farm Road, and Angliston constituencies. The Boundaries Commission chairman says the proposal to add St. Cecilia as a constituency again is linked to the increase in population.
St. Cecilia is back because certainly the numbers suggest that they ought to be back because that area is heavily populated, and it's just a matter of how the boundaries then, the lines then are adjusted based on this bringing back of St. Cecilia.
So when do you expect these changes? I know this cut to be made.
We will discuss it in earnest on Monday, and if all is well, we expect on Wednesday, which should be our final sitting of this calendar year, to table it for the Honourable Prime Minister to table it in the House of Assembly. So if that means that it will be debated perhaps at the first session in January.
And with the boundaries decision expected this week, Dr. Major is optimistic that voter registration numbers will also increase substantially.
Voter registration has already increased to something like 200 to 300 or more per day. And so obviously persons are starting to get energized. I think obviously some of the latest of what has been happening in the political arena, and of course when the Boundaries Commission is tabled and debated, I expect in January we were to have a serious thrust in increase in voter registration, and I believe at the end of the day the Bahamians will register and we will have the limits and the numbers that we're accustomed to seeing.